There we go. What is up, everybody? It is Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And since 2020, we have reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And we did it again this year with over 100,000 each year. So as I always like to say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And I want to welcome one of my co-hosts, Sadat, because we're at Black Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men, excuse me, that was a good salad, by the way, can come together to have real unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. What is up, my brother?
How you doing, family? I know it looks like I'm in the dark, but
Yeah,
being enlightened
like,
by the words of the
like
saints, so it's all good. It's all
where
good. I'm on the road, but definitely I'm here. I'm solid, so you might just hear my voice more this week and less of seeing my face. But I want to say what's up to everybody, and yeah, lots to share. Lots of good conversations to share this week.
Excellent. Well, we always have good conversation to share. And just a few quick things. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please lock the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And also, you can advertise your business, product, or service on our platform. I saw someone just come in. Good stuff. Email me at dr@drvibeshow.com and join the Black Men Can Talk Discord group. Email me at dr@drvibeshow.com. And he has arrived. He has arrived. He just needs to unmute himself to officially say that
Who's
he's
coming
arrived.
for dinner? Not the
There he is.
Peace and blessings, everybody. How's everybody feeling?
Black Ghost. Black Ghost.
In the space. I'm in the space. Give thanks. Black man can. You know what I'm saying? Black man can. So I'm in the space. I'm giving thanks. For, it's been amazing. Very busy holiday season. You know what I'm saying? My Kwanzaa season. For all those that are celebrating, whatever you're celebrating in this season, just giving thanks for connection, family, and community. So
wonderful. What have you been up to? It's been a minute since we've seen you on the show.
Absolutely. A lot, brother, a lot, definitely looking forward to today's conversation because it ties into some of the things that I've been focused on relative to business, family, and the topic of personal development, right? Just, the journey of life and being able to embrace every aspect and understanding that there's ebbs and flows in life. We got to move with those ebbs and flows and stay focused in the midst, right? So looking forward to sharing a little bit of what I've been up to. And I've been missing this space and connecting with folks, and so I'm looking forward to today's show.
Well, I know you're doing heart work, so that's the most important thing, and you're serving and you're doing it's bigger than you, so that's a cool thing. So everybody who's watching live or on replay, we're going to be chatting about New Year, New Vision, because it's the last Sunday in 2024. It's Sunday, December 29th, and few more days left, and that's it. That's all. So, who wants to? I can start the conversation, or if you, Jen, want to start it off, we can roll. Well, it's gonna be you and me, Kofi, until we get Paul back. Do you want me to start off the conversation?
Absolutely, Dr. Vibe. You want to set it off? Let's set it off.
Yeah, I think an important thing. How do we define success at this part of our lives as a Black man? How do we define success?
Beautiful. One thing I'll say, and it's a big word, and I use it often in the coaching space and connecting even with young people. And it's alignment. It's alignment. And I'll break it down a little bit more as we kind of go deeper into the show. But, I think the one-sided view of success that a lot of us have been fed for quite some time, especially in our quote-unquote capitalistic society, means that if you have the things, then you're successful. It's very often the things, right? The physical stuff. But I'm sure we can all agree that there's people that you may know, and there's people that we've come across that have the stuff but don't have happiness, have the stuff but don't have joy, have the stuff but don't have contentment or have peace, right? So I think when we look at life, from a holistic lens, we're able to acknowledge that when we're in alignment with our goals, our dreams, our values, our principles, we're moving closer to that space called success from my perspective, right? And more recently, I had a conversation with somebody. One of the things was I had my Earth Strong recently, December 5th, and for all the Saggies, big up all my Saggies in the house, and my Capricorns. One of the things I always do during my
too many December babies, man. You get 2 gifts. Too many December. You get 2
hey,
gifts.
Listen, we're special, brother. You know what I'm saying? We had to wait the whole year, Dr. Vibe. We had to wait 12 months.
So do I.
So do
I.
While everybody else celebrates,
all right. Okay, go on.
But this whole piece of reflection, whenever I come to that time and space, my mom and my grandmother's birthdays are also in December. So it's not actually just myself. We're often celebrating together. My mom just recently turned 70, and we had a surprise party for her and dinner and stuff like that. But just thinking of this piece around what does success look like, the joy that I feel that comes from the contentment that I feel is actually more based in the internal work, right? The things that are happening internally, the areas that I've been focused on that bring me joy that are not actually based upon externals. Because why do I say that? It means that regardless of what's happening externally, if I'm finding the peace within myself because I'm cultivating it, right, in my behaviors, my decision-making, that I'm going to feel that feeling of what success is, regardless of what's parked outside, right? Regardless of how much bedrooms are in the house, regardless of what chain I have or watch I have in my wrist. If I'm finding my peace within, which is based in the alignment aspect, then I personally can achieve and experience success. And more recently, and I mentioned my Earth days because in reflecting on my Earth day, I would say that this is one of the most joyful years for me. And I was reflecting on why. And I was saying that it had nothing to do with externals. It really wasn't based in externals. And a lot of things have shifted and changed in terms of my focus since COVID, since the process of isolation and going into that space. It has helped me, that whole period of time, helped me to reflect on what's really and truly important to me. And a big part of that is my connection to my family, to my community, the people that mean something to me. And the fact that what you said about the heart work, that I'm able to be in spaces that it's like this brother said, people's eyes light up when they see me. In those spaces that I go in, people's eyes light up when they see me. And it's partly because we're both moving in the same space, in the same mind state. And they say, like, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So I feel like I've been able to establish a lot of those pieces relative to blood family, community, business allies, and community connections. And for me, that's where the alignment comes in.
Paul, can you hear us? If you can, do you want to chime in on that?
Yes, for sure. I just taking it in what my brother was saying. For me, with success, I think there's 2 things that I look at. One is in the doing. A lot of folks talk about things, a lot of times we think about doing things, but to actually do something, whether it, is, I guess, successful in the sense of, okay, I had 100 people at an event and it was, no, to me, it's just, did you do what you say you would do? Very simple principle that, as a man and as a Black father as well, as a parent, I've learned the value of doing what you say you will do, right? In particular, when you have children and you don't do what you say you will do, they'll call you on it, right? So I think for me, success first and foremost is doing what we say we will do, or doing what I say I will do. And however it manifests, because sometimes, there are things greater outside of ourselves. It could be a rainstorm and maybe 2 people showed up to your event, but you still did the event, you did it well, and people enjoyed the event. So for me, again, it's in the doing. And then the second piece often maybe it's kind of, the nature of who I am, but I believe in collective success. So I don't just believe that, if I ate, and I was fed and everybody else is hungry, then I am individually successful, right? But I think that if we're all eating, we're all prospering, we're all benefiting. Again, one of the principles of Kwanzaa, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. If we're all responsible for each other's success, that in itself is, my definition of success. It's like, taking it back to a parent. I don't want to be well fed and my children are hungry, and saying that, okay, I was successful because I made this meal for myself, or I earned, whatever it was, the money or whatnot, so I could feed myself, right? So I think the collective success is what I enjoy the most. When we're all prospering and then we're all responsible, and connected for each other's success. So, what about yourself, Dr. Vi? Well, what would you say,
Wow, you
as a
guys,
black man?
you guys give me a tall order. I'm gonna see if I can at least be on the caboose. You guys are in the lead train. Many years ago, an elder shared with me, there's 3 S's in the word success: service, sacrifice, and selflessness. So for me, and I don't know if anyone else can relate as a black man, but I know we've got all different people watching us. There was a part of my journey many years ago that money didn't become the mission anymore. Money funded the mission. It wasn't the mission.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and piggybacking what you were saying, Paul, a few moments ago, I believe in the philosophy, don't get good, get done. Right? Get done. Like, I look at myself, do I want to be good and on time or perfect and late? And I want to, and even when, so these days, success means that it's bigger than me. So if I have something that's successful with me, it has to benefit at least one other person.
Shay.
And when I see myself and at least one other person getting success, I want myself and those other people to feel like they have a new set of lungs. So that's where I'll leave it at the moment. If anyone wants to add on to that, but that's where my heart is these days in regard to success. Success has to benefit more than just me.
Shay. So there you go, Kofi. It seems like we're in alignment with the way that we're viewing our success. So I'd love to hear
100%.
from people out there. Put it in the comments. How do you define success? And again, if you're in alignment with what we're saying, or you have another view, please put it in the comments and let us know.
Well, one of the things, and I know we'll get to it eventually, is if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, I've put a poll up. And the poll is this question: in 2025, are you going to prioritize mental health and emotional well-being? So if you're watching this live on YouTube, I put this question up: are you going to prioritize? Let me get that right. Grammar school. Come on, grammar. My dad was a teacher. He'll lick me if he sees this. All right, let's do it this way. So, are you going to prioritize mental health and well-being in 2025? I know definitely this is up Kofi Morrison's alley, so I'll let him lead on this.
I'm going to go back for a moment, right, to what I said earlier about the period of time that everything stopped. And, everybody knows what I'm talking about. When there was no more, the cars weren't on the road like they used to. The downtown core wasn't packed up with people walking around. Things slowed down. If everybody remembers, we started to see birds in the sky that we hadn't seen. Some of us had never seen before, right? I'm talking like eagles and falcons and all these various habitat of animals were coming out that we hadn't seen before, because everything slowed down. The cars were no longer on the road. As I said, all these things slowed down. And I think that period of time gave us this gift, start to really look at the beauty of life, the things that are available to you each and every day that you may not recognize. But now it was a moment to just stop and pause and actually, like they say, smell the roses, right? To me, it was a great gift, because it allowed us to see and understand this thing of gratitude, right? This whole importance of the practice of gratitude, because a lot of the time we talk from a scarcity mentality perspective, and a lot of us we've actually inherited it, right? And I don't mean that as a justification or excuse, but as a reality, right? A lot of our parents came to the Americas, you know, from a more survival standpoint, just simply because, like for myself, I'm a first generation Canadian, right? Like, I identify in various ways, but from a citizen standpoint, I'm a first generation Canadian. So my parents came here to try to do what? Create a better life for us. And in the midst of that, they may not always have been focused from the perspective of what we might call an abundance mentality, simply because they were building and growing and creating things and opportunities for us. So I think when we shift our mindset to understand that abundance is actually all around us, right? Like, blessings and opportunities are actually all around us all the time. But our perspective sometimes dictates how we look at it. And I think that also implicates and it affects our ability to pursue life from a strength-based perspective, if that makes sense, right? So I think when we're able to see things with a more full lens, we're able to look at the things that are available to us. So this whole piece around, in abundance of water, the fool is thirsty, right? That quote, right? In abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Why? Why can't he see the water? Why can't he recognize that the water is there? Which, let's just call that opportunity, right? Some folks, as we go into 2025, this new year, and we got to start getting used to saying this, start to say 2025 because it's here, right? The whole piece around utilizing words, because words have power, and visualizing our objectives and seeing this new year with positive eyes, seeing this new year with the opportunities that are available to us, that alone starts to open up doors. And how does that open up doors? Well, it actually starts to open up doors in our subconscious mind, right? Because it allows us to see things that are actually not there presently, right? Which is the whole piece around faith and walking in faith. So you don't see the job opportunity right now. You don't see the career right now, meaning that you don't physically see those things right in front of you right now. But what are you doing? You're taking your time to envision the future that you want for yourself, the 2025 that you want for yourself, the way you want your relationships to be, your children, your family, your colleagues, A, B, C, and D. When you start to actually put positive thinking and visualization to those things, it doesn't just make them, automatically come to be, but it actually starts to reprogram your mind of what's possible. And what does that do? That now opens up spaces that didn't exist before, because now you're seeing what's in front of you, and the things that you want to create, you're starting to believe those things, because they say, like, the subconscious mind can't take a joke. So if you say, I'm great, I'm amazing, I'm going to get real in the sense to say, some of my brothers right now who, you only see your children on the weekend, right? You think of it like, what? This is the time I have of my children. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to plan these things, and I'm going to be the best dad possible in the time that I have of my children on the weekend. Well, what are you doing when you're setting yourself up in that way? Is you're already planting the seed for the father that you want to be. Even though you're like, I wish I could have my children every day. I wish I could see my children every day. Well, guess what? Use the 2 days that you have now and be the best father in that space that you can be now. And then start to envision the future of how you want things to be and how you want things to look, and start to move towards that and start to work towards that. It starts to create that into being. So I'm saying all this to say the power of visualization, the power of positive thinking, the power of reprogramming our subconscious, reprogramming the old belief systems, right, that have maybe been identifying with more scarcity than abundance. Start to see what's available to you and start to envision and acknowledge the water even when it's not there physically in front of you, because it's a way of shifting your mindset, which also helps to shift your reality.
Paul, anything you want to add to that? Because Kofi is reading my alleged mind. Because I was going to ask him, how can Black men, break free from the stereotypes and expectations and limiting beliefs? And I think you just dropped all the knowledge there to that question. Okay, Paul is on mute, so we'll continue on.
No, I'm here.
There
I'm
we
listening.
go.
I'm listening.
All right.
I was just hearing your reflection. Yeah, I was just hearing your reflection in terms of what Brother Kofi was saying. The thing I would add to the question around are we prioritizing mental health and well-being? I'd like to also prioritize healing. I think healing is a place that we need to get to as well. I mean, definitely do a lot of work around awareness, opening ourselves up, having these conversations. But I think also, doing that deeper dive work and beginning that healing from, some of the experiences and the trauma that we've had in the past. But really, I think healing, even if it's a physical thing, I mean, it could be a physical injury that, for example, say myself, I've had a bad shoulder for a while. And one of the things I started doing was physiotherapy. And then I kind of cut it off towards the end of the year. But it was really helping with my healing, and I just use it kind of like a metaphor because for anything else, whether it's mental or spiritual, but in this case, we're talking about mental, is again, the constant work to get us to the place of the healing, addressing, what are the issues that are kind of making us, go sideways, right? And not just really having a band-aid solution, right? But let's getting to the point of healing, or starting that journey of healing for 2025. That's going to be one of my priorities as well. So just wanted to add that to the conversation.
Paul, that is a knowledge bomb right there. And I think we may need to do an episode about Black men and healing, because, and Paul and I spoke before we went live, and I encountered 3 people and 1 family that need healing in the last 13 hours. And I think that's really important, what you said about the healing. It's so critical, because I think many people, I'm not going to say most, but many people need to be healed from something or someone or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's that is such a huge piece. Kofi, I want to come back to you. You mentioned a number of practices that Black men and those who love them can deal with when it comes to, mental health, emotional well-being, limiting beliefs. Anything else you want to add on that? Because you were just on point with what you were saying there. Is there anything else you want to add when it comes to those areas on, breaking free from that?
Being honest with ourselves. It seems so simple, but I think that sometimes, because we have to show up a certain way, in many of the circles that we're in, again, with our children, our families, our partners, our parents, etc., we have to show up ready to go. Paul talked about action and taking action. We're often known for that. As men, like, you have to show up, you have to be ready, there's no time to talk about how you feel when it's time to get the thing done, right? But I think sometimes, because we show up that way for other people, and we're putting on a mask sometimes, because we are tired, because we are fatigued, physically, mentally, or spiritually, or emotionally, because we're constantly showing up that way, sometimes we're not being truthful to ourselves and being honest with ourselves of what we might need, what we might require to show up. And it may not be external, it may be something we need for ourselves. But because we're constantly going and getting the things done, we sometimes go until we crash. So I think just taking the time to self-reflect, to actually ask the question, where am I? Right? It's like this compass that we're constantly walking with, but not acknowledging where we are, our location. Being able to tap into that and recognize what it is that we need. Sometimes I do work with adults in different spaces as a coach and as a healer and a guide, etc., a mentor. And I've seen grown people have, what you want to call breakdown, temper tantrums, like children, right? In various spaces. We've actually all seen this, right? And you think about it, when a child does it, we acknowledge, well, because of their age, we give them a blight. We kind of allow them to have that moment and then help them to regroup, right? Well, when you're an adult, when you have those moments, especially as men, often we end up in handcuffs, right? Or we end up in, if you're going to school, we end up in detention or suspension or whatever the case may be. There's all these punitive approaches to that, outburst or whatever you want to call it. But the outburst is often based on the fact that we haven't taken the time to check in with self and figure out where am I right now in this circumstance and situation in my life, and what do I need right now? Maybe I just need some time to breathe. Maybe I just need to walk away. Maybe I need to acknowledge what's truly happening with me right now, because if I don't, I'm most likely just going to react to what's happening, and it may lead to a negative response. So there's a large percentage, I'll finish this piece to say, there's a large percentage of men that are detained or in detention spaces and centers and penitentiaries, etc., because of emotional outbursts. They weren't able to control the emotion because they probably didn't have the language. They didn't learn the language. So being honest with ourselves, I think, starts with acknowledging, where am I? What is my location right now? Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritual. Where am I right now? What do I need? Right? And really taking that moment of self-reflection.
Okay. I'm getting a feeling we need to do a part 2. I'm getting, because there's a number of things I think I want to drop, and I think all of us want to drop, that may not be all in 1 hour, but hey, just doing a reset. Myself, Dr. Vibe, Kofi Sadat, and Kofi Morris are talking about new year, new vision on Black Men Can Talk. If you're watching this live, chime in the comment section. If you're watching it on replay, chime in on the comment section. So I want to ask another conversation, drop another conversation piece. How can Black men cultivate discipline and focus to stay on track with their goals? Kofi's smiling. We might just put ourselves on mute and just let Kofi just roll.
No,
See, Paul left. Paul left.
Okay.
He's back. He's back. No, he's like, Batman.
There you go. I'm here. I'm back. Can you
guys hear me? Yeah, we can hear you and see you. So I'll repeat. I don't think you caught the question, but what can we share in regards to how can Black men cultivate discipline and focus to stay on track with their goals?
Wow, that's a one. Well,
this is going to be a 2-parter. I just told Kofi because we got to roll this into next week. But go ahead, start off.
Yeah, so I think we always have to start with self-discipline and the small things, whether that's, what I'm going to get up at a particular time. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to bed too late. And I say that because habit forming around even, discipline, and the focus will lead to the bigger things, like when it comes to your goals. Right. But I also would advise that once you prioritized, you believe in this goal and it's a priority for you. So say, for example, hey, I love to eat fast food or whatnot. I have a goal for the new year. I want to eat more healthy. But, socially, I may have friends or people who want to go out and eat. Maybe I don't do that as much, right? And have that level of self-discipline. Or if I go out, hey guys, does the menu have anything that I would like to eat? Whether it could be a salad or a healthier version of meat or whatever the case is, right? So I think that a lot of times if you're prioritizing, that goal, it helps with the focus and the discipline, right? And a lot of times what gets us off our focus is that when we are kind of enthralled or involved in other people's focus or vision or whatnot, it's not necessarily ours. And I think that's sometimes where the discipline comes in to say, oh, yeah, but that's not my thing this year or this time or this season of my life. This is my priority. This is what I'm going to focus on. So that's the advice I'd have to really start with the self-discipline with the small things, and then it will lead to the bigger things, right? Because again, if you're never on time, right, and something big comes along, your habits forming, right? Or if you don't have that self-discipline. So that's what I would add.
Well, I'm going to jump in before Kofi because Kofi Morris is going to drop knowledge on us. I'm going to jump because it's too hard. It's too hard to follow him. So I'm going to put some suggestions here. I'm going to piggyback on what Paul just said. If you have a big audacious goal, reverse engineer and write down all the steps that you want to take and work at one step at a time. Right? Because it's the little things that make and break things. It's not the big things. And even when big things come up, a lot of times it's the little things that built up to it. So to me, I would say write down all the goals you need to take. What's the first goal you need to do? Work on that. When you get, and give yourself some deadlines. Right? And so for me, when I'm assisting a lot of men, they tell me, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. I say, great. What's going to happen if a distraction? What distractions are going to get in the way of you achieving it? They'll tell me, and I say, okay, so what actions are you going to take if and when those distractions come up? And then I say, okay, you got a plan, and say, how committed are you on a scale of 0 to 10 to get that done within the time period you said? And when they tell me that, I say, and I don't accept anything lower than an 8. So when they tell me that, I say, great. And I could go on, but again, the heavy hitter, Mr. Morris, is coming up, and I'll just add one other thing. It's one thing to write down your goals. Or it's one thing to think about them. It's another thing to write them. I suggest getting an accountability partner.
Love that. Love that.
So I'll leave it at that. The heavy hitter is coming out of the bullpen now. He just gave me this sort of finger, so now it's he up to at bat. Kofi Morris.
Boom, boom, boom. No pressure, brother. No pressure. Go ahead. No pressure.
This is the thing, right? I love what was said. I love what you guys said, because to me, they're very practical things, right? We can go big and get deep, and you can do that, right? We can do this whole big thing. But to just get as simple as, what does your daily routine look like, right? They say that the difference between, sometimes we call it the wealthy and people that are living, again, going back to the scarcity mentality piece, is what they both do on payday, right? It's like what significantly like those two people, when they receive that check, that paycheck, what do they do with those resources? And one group usually produces and another group consumes, right? So these things tie back into how you look at life, which ties back into your daily routine. If you prioritize your health, then maybe you say, okay, every day I do this thing in the morning, right? I do breathing exercises. I lift some weights. I do some push-ups, whatever it is. Your daily routine should reflect back to the goals that you said that you want in your life, right? You say, I want to be a good father. I want to show up for my children. What do you do every day, right? Let's say your children live with you. I say, okay, every day I want to hug my child before they go to school, or I want to tell them something positive, or whatever it is, right? That's not part of my daily routine. If my children don't live with me, maybe I say I send my child a text every day. I send them a little emoji, something funny, you know. That ties into my daily routine. That's something I want to check off my list. I got it done. So I think daily routine is something that's important. Having systems in place that support that, whatever the system is. There's all these apps out now. It's almost hard to say you can't be productive because there's all these resources. Like we have AI, you have your own virtual assistants for free. You have your own secretary for free, and it's connected to your phone, right? So all of these things, putting a system in place, whatever that looks like. If it's an app that you need that helps you, there's apps with everything with drinking water every day because you forget. I forget to drink my water sometime, right? There's an app. It makes a noise. It goes goo, 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 goo. It makes a noise like on the hour or whatever, right? To remind you to drink your water. So just putting some kind of system in place to keep you accountable. You can use your alarms on your phone. Something that you tend to forget, whatever the thing is, use alarms, right? Use AI to your advantage. And lastly, I love what Dr. Vibe said about accountability. Having some kind of accountability in place, whether it's external, meaning of someone else, like a accountability partner, or again, you using your technology, right? I'm supposed to do my 50 push-ups every day or whatever, put it in your phone. Maybe you have 3 alarms, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. If that first alarm in the morning went off and you didn't do your 50 push-up, say the second one is going to go off by lunchtime. So you have up until that time to do those 50 push-ups. If that last alarm goes off in the night and you didn't do it, you might have to stop what you're doing and do the 50 push-ups or write the thing, whatever the goal is, having some kind of accountability system in place, whether it's internal or external. Those are three of the main really important pieces. I feel like it would help people to be more successful, as we're talking about, with the things that they want to accomplish, and writing things down. Write it down. There's something special that happens when we put the pen to the pad, write it down and make it visible.
And I'll jump in on a few things that I know we all have these things, but you know what? My go-to is this thing.
Wow.
Black book. It's in black.
Black book.
Men Talk, black book.
Listen.
I feel, I believe it or not, this is just me, family. I'm more productive when I write stuff down in here than putting it in here. That's just me. That's just me. And the reason why I brought up the accountability partner piece, my main mentor, and we've known each other for about 8 or 9 years. I won't give his name, but he has won 2 Emmy Awards. And 2 years ago, he messaged me at this time of year and he said, Dr. Vibe, can I speak with you for a minute? I said, okay. Because he said, my wife and I, for the last few years, we've had each other as accountability partners, and we want to change it up this year. And he asked me if I wanted to be his accountability partner for a year.
Wow.
I had so much growth because he was asking my take on things, that big projects, and I'm going, wow. And he was feeding me back with things like that. So I really want to encourage Black men and those who love them, have that accountability partner.
100%.
If you're consistent, you will notice the difference. I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but I feel that you will be more productive, and make sure you have consistent meetings. And if you can, at the same time, each time you meet. If it's weekly, it's actually better. Same time, dedicated. There is a client of mine. We have been meeting consistently on Fridays at the same time for 3 years.
Well, you're like my inner conscience speaking, because I was doing that. So I'm going to shout out to my accountability partner, Judy. Judy, I'm going to get back to you.
Seriously.
We were meeting every Friday at a particular time.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely. I'll be reaching out to, it's very important to have an accountability partner. I'm totally with that, because, sometimes we need someone else to say, hey, yo, Dr. Vibe, what's going on with those goals that you're setting? Kofi, what's going on? Sadat, what's going on? So I am definitely endorsing the accountability partner. And yeah, you pick them up, they pick you up, right? So I like that.
Exactly. Another thing I want to add too is that, you know, when you set your steps, as you get along with the steps to your goal, once you achieve a step, celebrate it.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't wait till getting to the end. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process along the way. Enjoy it.
Best. I want to give a shout out, if you don't mind, to some folks I see that are watching out there. Some good people. Robert, who I met in Ghana, my one of my travels to Ghana. I want to shout out Kareem Reed. I want to shout out Hugh Dixon. Definitely today, if you guys, I know you're just joining in.
That name sounds familiar. Hugh Dixon.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Okay. All
You
right.
never know. Small world. But just letting folks know, recapping the conversation as usual. We are talking about new year, new vision. You know, how do we define success? How do you define success? More importantly, you know, what are you prioritizing for the upcoming year? Let us know. Or what do you think us as Black men should be prioritizing for the upcoming year? Is that different than what you want to do? Does it align with what you want to do? So again, this is Black Men Can Talk with myself, which is Kofi Sadat, aka Paul. We have Kofi Just, and of course we have the Dr. Vibe in the house. And here we are, Black Men Talk.
Right? Black Men Can Talk.
Can talk, right?
So talk. We can talk. You're the person who came up with that name, so don't forget it, please. You're our lead. You're a lead on that.
There you go.
I think this may be. I think we got to do a part 2 because there's so much more we got to share. But I want to delve into about leadership and legacy, and just having a roundtable chat about what does leadership look like for Black men in 2025, whether it's in their families, communities, or workplaces.
Yeah. Brother Kofi, are you on that first, or you want me to say something?
No, feel free, brother. Please, I would love to hear from you.
I'll start with legacy. You know, I think that every moment that we're living here as Black men, every moment that we're aware of that's connected to our, you know, our ancestors, our past, and every moment that we, such as these moments that we're looking into the future, is an opportunity to create legacy. You know, legacy is never too small. Legacy is never too big, right? So often, you know, we encounter a lot of brothers out there, some brothers out there, who feel that their contribution to their family, to their circles, to society, you know, is not, you know, important. We devalue our not just our experience, but our contribution. And I think that, you know, I take the stance that whatever I do, you know, it's gonna go, like they say, for 7 generations. Right? So legacy is very important for us as Black men, brothers, uncles, fathers, community. You know, establishing legacies are very important. And when you have that framework and you're thinking about, okay, how do I want to be remembered? Right? How would I want to be honored? How do I want to honor other folks? Then I think it really allows us to think in a more positive way. In terms of leadership, I definitely would love to see, you know, more leadership in spaces that I would say that I work in. So a lot of my work would be considered community development or social work. And I know Brother Kofi can probably attest to this as well. We see a lot of sisters in positions of leadership. Mm-hmm. Dr. Vibe, right? We see a lot, that whether they be EDs or managers or whatever it is, even frontline, right? So I'd love to encourage Black men, in particular, in areas of, you know, human connection, heart work, as we taught the heart work. I'd love to see more brothers step up in those positions of leadership. I want to come into rooms and spaces and see that, hey, yeah, there's a lot of us that are here, because I know we've got wonderful things to contribute. And definitely, even tonight when I was at Wajima Fathering Center, for those who are not aware, that's Canada's only father-focused space, and it's right here in Toronto, Western Road in Lawrence. And there was a question around, you know, visioning in terms of we've been here for 15 years, and also reflecting what do we want the legacy to be, right? So the legacy question was there, and then leadership, for an organization or a body of folks where all three of us have had some type of contribution or role to a Jima Fathering Center is the whole question of leadership and teaching what we know, right? So how do we now pass on the valuable lessons that we've had when it comes to engaging Black men and Black fathers and Black families? How do we share that knowledge with the next generation? How do we now figure ways to articulate what we've learned, right? And I mentioned this podcast, for example, as a catalyst or a vehicle to actually get those who've worked with our Black fathers and our families, and to come on and to share some of that experience and knowledge, because it's important. We've been silent for a very long time, and coming back to what Kofi said, let's use the technology in order to elevate ourselves in that particular way. All right, so I just wanted to kind of share that around legacy and leadership. Is the heavy hitter going to go next, or Dr. Vibe?
I'm always ready to share, but like I said, we leave him in the bullpen for another bat or share. Okay,
there you go.
I'll jump in. Every success needs a successor, right? So, and people say, what do you mean by that? Well, Steve Jobs founded Apple. Everyone knows, most people know what Apple. When he died, did Apple die? No. It's actually bigger and better than it was when he was running it. So we have to look in to succession planning in every area of our life. In regards to leadership, Black men, the best leaders are the biggest servers. The biggest leaders are the biggest servers. So even if it's 1%, if we could all, let's look at it this way. If every Black man who's listening or hearing or watching this, whether it's live on replay, could increase your servitude by 5%, not 20, not 30, not 40, 5%. Do you know how much collectively that impact would have? Saying 5%. I always say the more you help, the more you need to help.
All right, so there we go. We have a 5% challenge for Black men. No, a 5% challenge for Black men 2025 to increase their servitude. So increasing, those who we serve and get involved, right? So,
yeah, and whatever way you want to say it, or you want to do it. Like it could be me. One of these is I'm doing 5% more content creation next year.
All right.
Right. So I'm going to be doing more conversations for more of our people, Black men, Black women, Black families. So where can I just do, again, little steps, not big, but something that's within your wheelhouse that you can say, but sometimes you have to take the big challenge. Sometimes you have to do that, because the easy challenge is one you'll get lazy with. The big challenge gets you hungry. As Les Brown, Kofi knows that name. I think, Paul, you do. He said one of his all-time sayings, you got to be hungry. You got to be hungry. So for me, I want to be there. There's already an area that going to be putting myself out in regards to leadership in the new year. And it's an area that, let alone not too many men, but not too many Black men put themselves into that area. but it impacts all of us. So I'm, as Kofi said, I put a vision out there and I've let it guide me. And almost every day or the other day, I'm getting signs or signals that it's my time is coming to jump into that stream, you know? So yeah, that's for me, leadership. I always remember the biggest leaders are the biggest servers. Never forget that. So clean up, Mr. Clean Up.
There's something that came that, you know, when you guys are, and I love setting a big goal. You know, we just came out of this holiday season, and I remember we're still in it essentially, but just coming out of the, let's say the, you know, the Christmas and the dinners and stuff like that. You remember when we were growing up, they used to leave the big piece of chicken for the man of the house. Everybody remember that? Leave the big piece of turkey, the big piece of chicken. Leave it. Don't touch that. That's for dad, right? I just thought of it when you talked about being hungry, right? It's like, what is your big piece of chicken? Because what allows you to deserve that piece of that whatever the big thing is, right? Why do you deserve that, right? There's a reason why you deserve that. So if you acknowledge that your value is such that you deserve to have a big goal, right? Then you deserve the big payout. But you have to show up in a particular way that allows you to even identify with that. I deserve that thing, right? So I just thought, you know, everyone should have that, whatever that big thing is for you. So what comes to me with that is do what's uncomfortable, right? Being open to do what's uncomfortable, because usually sometimes we want to stay in our comfort zone, but you know that when you do the uncomfortable thing, you get the reward, like the reward's going to come. So whether it's the waking up early, whether it's the staying up late, you know, there's people that want to start businesses, but they say, okay, after my 9 to 5, I'm tired. You know, there's a 6 to 12 time after your 9 to 5, right? Or 6 to 8, or whatever you want to call it, right? You got to put that work in. That extra work is needed. If you put that work in every week, those hours add up, but it's uncomfortable. It'll feel good. Because after you do the hard stuff, sometimes you just want to relax, kick your foot up, watch your favorite show, whatever. But guess what? Most of the people who we know have been successful, they did the uncomfortable, and they created the time to do those things. Sometimes you're tired, and your son or your daughter is like, "Can you just come read the book with me? Come do the thing with me," right? And you know that you just want to rest. Close your eyes. You just decided you're going to relax, and the call comes to show up in that particular way. But you know that it's going to mean something to your child, so you do it anyway, right? So I think doing the uncomfortable thing is something we have to get back to. I love the 5%. Where can we apply the 5%? I love what Paul, you said, do the 5%. What is your, where are you going to, as men, where do you guys want to put your 5%? What would be impactful? You just put that 5% there. And going back to the healing piece, I think there's some things that we're often overlooking because doing the healing is uncomfortable. But you know that if you do the healing, you can show up better in your relationships and the different areas that you serve. So doing the uncomfortable thing sometimes is just committing to your own healing process, your own journey, and acknowledging that maybe I need to take a pause before I step back into this thing, because there's some work I need to do to clear and cleanse the things from the past. So going into 2025 is a great time to really take stock of the lessons from 2024 in those major areas of life, right? Being able to take stock, utilizing some kind of some kind of objective tool, right? So one of the tools I use has to do with the life balance. So feel free to comment below if you're interested. It's a free tool I can share with anyone, and it's something that can be used to kind of assess things. So look at your 2024 objectively with this tool, look and see where things are, and then you can map out how you want 2025 to be. But a part of it too is letting go and releasing the stuff that you're beating yourself up about, that didn't happen, that didn't work out, instead of taking it in 2025. So that has to do with a process of actually self-forgiveness, right? Actually forgiving yourself and actually acknowledging that happened. It's no longer with me. I'm moving forward. This is how I'm moving forward, and this is what it's going to look like, so that we can embrace the abundance and blessing opportunity that's coming, as opposed to having this thing that's in the way, that has to do with the healing piece, right? Which is acknowledging that there's some stuff that maybe we didn't show up the way we wanted to. So being able to give yourself the gift of self-forgiveness, release it, let it go. And there's some very tangible ways that can be done, in terms of writing things down and using various elements to release them. Once again, reach out to me, visit my page, whatever the case, reach out. I would love to share some of these tools with you, because we're committed to the work.
You know what we should start doing? We should put some of this in the Discord group and have people join it.
Love it.
There you go.
You got it. I'm gonna mention that.
My mind is, there's a bunch of things I want to share in that Discord group. Now, I know, Mr. Osbourne, you've been away from your family most of the day. So I know I hear the noise in the back. They need you.
Yes.
So we'll end it off here. I think we need, my suggestion is we do a part 2 next week, because there's still a lot of things that I want, and I'm sure each one of you want to cover. Are we in agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
Yep. First thing in the new year, I think it makes sense. Any final conversational pieces? I have something quick, but I'll let you kings go ahead of me if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of sounds fluffy, but I want folks to really dare to dream. Often, again, we're very heads down as, people of African descent or Black people, in terms of, things can be hard. But taking a moment to dream and vision where you want to be, how you want to show up, is very important. You know what I mean? It could be that ride on the subway. It could be, I get in my car, I take that 5 minutes before, I hit the road in the stress of the 401 or wherever you're going on, right? But actually, intentionally taking the time to dream, to vision, will help you to actualize things. So I just want to say, definitely take the time to dream, about where you want to be and how you want to show up.
Bullpen, you want me to go ahead, or you are go ahead, Bullpen?
Beautiful. I'll hop in. I'll just say a couple things. One is the reflection piece. As men, we keep going and going and going. Sometimes we don't take the time to reflect. So just taking some time to reflect on things. And it's a practice you could do at the end of the night, even before you go to sleep, is reflect on those things from the day, lessons that you've learned, things that maybe you'd like to take into the next day, going back to the daily routine piece. What do I want to incorporate into my tomorrow? Never starting tomorrow without planning it out, putting some steps into that. What does that look like? And showing up both for yourself and for the other people in your life, unapologetically you. Let's go into 2025 with some boldness, because some of us have been hiding who we truly are, for fear of how it's going to be received by others, but it's poisoning us, right? And it's harming us. So to show authentically as yourself in the spaces that you need to allow your voice to be heard, take the time to self-reflect, and write down those goals.
All right.
Okay.
Want to say hi to some people on Facebook. Althea O'Hara Stevenson, thank you so much for the like there. BM, great show. Happy New Year. My goals in 2025: proper sleep, better mental health, being a better father, husband. I love those, but I'm going to challenge you. Get an accountability partner. I have a feeling that one of these two gentlemen know who you are. I think Paul knows. Maybe you and Paul can be accountability partners, or Kofi Morris or myself. More than happy to do that. More than happy to do that. And if NASA says, bless Brother Barry. Althea is here. Powerful message, Brother Kofi. Love it. Love it. Well, I'll just do some quick things, some quick suggestions, because I don't tell people what to do. Because if I tell you what to do and it doesn't work, it's my head. So I make suggestions. First thing, make the right withdrawals and deposits. All right. Next up,
There you go.
I suggest that you drop regrets of missed opportunities. Also, yearning for past mistakes, drop them. And also controlling circumstances. And I want you to open your hands and your heart to healthy lifestyle choices. That's not only physically, eating, emotionally, mentally. Open your heart to responses. And then open your heart and hands to personal attitudes.
Shake.
So I want all Black men and those who love them in 2025 to live hopeful and grateful lives. Really important. So that's it for part 1. Same time. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
What's about you just hit it. I was just thinking, if you tuned into part 1 and you want to be you definitely want us to you want to be part of part 2.
Yeah. If you want a part 2,
we can reach out to you. Make sure you get the link. Subscribe to the channel, Dr. Vibe. I'm always gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it again. Press the bell, you know what I'm saying, so that when we go live, you're gonna get the notification. And we'll give a gift out to reach out to you to let you know when we're doing part 2.
Well, either a gift out or, hey, if we really want to stretch them, we can make them say, if you subscribe to the Discord channel, you'll get stuff from us. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe, because this week I'm going to start putting stuff in. So this is good. So BM says, LLO, both know me. We'll find a partner. Well, when are you gonna reach out to them by? I'm gonna wait a few moments to see what you say in the chat. And also, brother from the States, Real Django, thumbs up. Absolutely. So, family, we are done this conversation this week. Loved it. And there's so much more we want to share about. So, a few things. That's where you can get a hold of Mr. Sadat, the man in the Brazil top. He's there, and it's in the comments in most of the platforms you're watching. Mr. Morris, aka the bullpen. Email getwellstayfit@gmail.com. Instagram at Kofi Coach _ and at Cosmic Well Group on the Instagram. Myself, the Dr. Vibe Show website, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the DRVIBESHOW, X/Twitter at DRVIBESHOW, and email dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. And along the bottom, you can see the places where you can watch replays. Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show website, and Paul Osbourne on Facebook, and NASA Community on YouTube. So I got them all in.
There you go.
All can't be vexed at me anymore. So
Can't be vexed.
And look at this. I will try to find a partner within a couple of weeks.
All right.
When's a couple of weeks? That could be
I'm gonna reach out
weeks.
to you, brother. I'm gonna reach out to you.
Thank you. Can one of you reach out to him and see if we can? What would be a great first gift for me, and one of the great first gifts of next year? One of you two are his accountability partner. That would be massive. And maybe he'll come on. Maybe Kofi do an accountability session live.
100%. I'm down.
If someone's up for that, we would love myself and we let Bullpen do an accountability session live.
There you go. Again, folks, we're challenging you, everybody, not just BM, but everybody this year. If you have some goals, get an accountability partner.
Yeah.
We want to hear you show up next Sunday at 8 p.m. Let us know who your accountability partner is.
100%. Like I have 3 or 4, and a number of people ask me to be. So, and I love it because it makes me better. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than us. So We end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And finally, if you're not making money, make history. We'll see you next week.
Okay, go.